Guys, if there's a time for referendum, if there's a time for self-determination for Biafra, the time is now. Not tomorrow, not in 5 years' time. The time is now, because once this moment passes, once the United Nations falls back into the hands of pro-British, pro-establishment leaders, the window will shut, close, and it may never open again. The United Nations is led today by Guterres, a no-nonsense leader who did not grow up in privilege, as you can see in my screen. Born in Portugal, Guterres saw poverty, inequality, and political oppression firsthand. He served as the UN High Commissioner for Refugees before becoming Secretary General, dealing directly with war victims, displaced families, and persecuted ethnic minorities. This background has made him fiercely protective of human dignity and outspoken against powerful governments that trample on minority rights. This is not your typical UN leader who hides behind closed-door diplomacy. Guterres has challenged the West, spoken out against colonial legacies, and pushed for the rights of oppressed and indigenous people everywhere. Now, I'll be telling you guys what Guterres has been doing for indigenous people worldwide. So guys, just listen carefully and stay with me to the end of this video. Now, the first one is he has been fighting for recognition and inclusion. At the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues, Guterres has demanded that indigenous communities have a direct seat at the table in policy making. He has said indigenous people are guardians of the planet, yet they face marginalization, violence, and cultural erasure. We must change this. Defending legal rights and self-determination, he urged all nations to implement the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, including the right to self-determination, land ownership, and free informed consent before any projects affect their land. Another thing he has done is protecting land, culture, and survival. He warned that environmental destruction, land grabs, and cultural assimilation are essential threats to indigenous world survival. He called for immediate protection of ancestral lands and traditional ways of life. Another thing he did was elevating indigenous voices globally. He supported the creation of permanent indigenous representation bodies in environmental treaties. He ensured indigenous leaders have speaking time at UN Climate Summit and biodiversity negotiation. Another thing he did was tech and cultural preservation. He advocated for the use of AI to document endangered indigenous language and map ancestral territories, while warning about the digital tools that could exploit their culture. Now, why all these things matters for Biafra? I'll be telling you guys why what this man did matters for Biafra. Biafra's struggle is not just a Nigerian issue, it's an indigenous right issue. The right to self-determination, the right to live free from persecution, the right to preserve culture and identity. For decades, the United Nations looked away, controlled by leaders unwilling to challenge Nigeria's powerful allies. Even under Kofi Annan, the UN avoided direct involvement, but now things are different because of this man, Guterres. The rare window of opportunity. Guterres is openly pro-indigenous rights and challenges powerful states when necessary. Global awareness of indigenous struggle is at all-time high. Nigeria's political instability means the call for peaceful resolution is more urgent than ever. Waiting for another friendly UN could take half a century. By then, the struggle could be buried. Whatever we are doing, it is time to start doing it. History will not wait. This is not just a fight for land, it's a fight for existence. Guterres will not be Secretary General forever. And when he leaves, there is no guarantee the next UN will care about the voices of the oppressed. The time of action is now. If you don't do something about it, we don't really know if Guterres is going to still be the another UN General Secretary, another United Nations General Secretary. So the time is now for us to do anything we want to do. The fact that this man is nice, is hearing the voice of the oppressed, doesn't mean that the next person who is going to be in that position can be like him. The next person may even be tougher or more strict. So we need to utilize this opportunity that we have right now. Now, the man leading the UN today is known as Guterres, the one you are seeing right on my screen. Guterres is not a career bureaucratic who have never seen struggle. He has worked on the front lines of humanitarian crisis for decades. As UN High Commissioner for Refugees in 2005 to 2015, he personally visited war zones and refugee camps in Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. He has dealt directly with stateless people from the Rigona of Myanmar to the Shariwi of Western Syria, and has consistently fought for their right to self-determination. His leadership style is direct, principled, and people first, even when it annoys powerful governments. And that is one thing I like about this man. This man is someone that, he's principled. He like everything about him. He chooses people first, even though it annoys powerful government. Even though he's annoying all those powerful government, he doesn't care. All he cares is the people's voices, and that's why I would say I really like this man. This is not a man who fears upsetting the powerful. This is a man who believes that justice comes before diplomacy, a rare trait in the UN system. Now, Guterres' concrete actions for indigenous people. I will tell you guys Antonio Guterres' concrete actions for the indigenous people. Number one is constant global advocacy. In every International Day of the World Indigenous People, in every International Day of the World Indigenous People speech since taking office, Guterres has condemned colonial legacy, systematic discrimination, and violent land grabs. He has pushed for governments to respect ancestral land rights, protect scarce sites, and restore stolen land. Climate and biodiversity protection. Antonio Guterres calls indigenous people the frontline defenders of the earth, highlighting that they protect 80% of the planet's biodiversity despite making up only 6% of the population. He advocated for indigenous-led conversation models in UN climate policy. Now, another thing he did was confronting powerful states. He was publicly called out. He has publicly called out Canada, Australia, and the United States for their treatment of indigenous communities, proving he does not reserve criticism only for smaller nations. In 2023, he criticized Brazil's previous government for allowing Amazon deforestation that displaced indigenous tribes. Another thing he did was empowering digital and cultural tools. He promotes using AI to preserve indigenous languages and culture, but warns against exploitation of indigenous knowledge for corporate profit. Now, I'm going to be telling you guys how this links directly to Biafra. Biafra's case fits every UN definition of an indigenous war struggle, which is distinct ethnic identity, historical homeland, political and cultural marginalization, history of violent suppression. Under Nigeria's current political structure, Biafrans argue they have no real autonomy and face systematic exclusion from national decision-making. Guterres' constant defense of referendum for marginalized people like the Bogvini in Papua New Guinea sets a precedent that Biafrans could point to. For decades, the UN has said not now to Biafra. But the political stars have never been more aligned than they are today. The world is watching, and the UN has a leader who understands oppression at a human level. That is why I always say the UN has a very great leader. Now, I'm telling you guys historical mischances under Kofi Annan, which he was in there for since 1997-2006. The UN avoided direct involvement in Biafra to avoid straining Nigeria and UK relations. When Kofi Annan was the General Secretary of United Nations, he made the UN to avoid direct involvement in Biafra to avoid straining the relationship that Nigeria and UK has. Now, when Ban Ki-moon, he was there from 2007 to 2016, he also kept Biafra off the UN agenda, prioritizing Nigeria's territorial unity over self-determination claims. Antonio Guterres' era marks the first time the UN has a Secretary General who openly challenged former colonial powers on their handling of indigenous and minority rights. Now, the clock is ticking. Now, I'll be telling you why I say the clock is ticking. Guterres' term ends in late 2026, just over a year from now. There is no guarantee the next Secretary General will prioritize indigenous rights, especially if choosing under heavy influence from pro-British or pro-Western world governments. Once this opportunity passes, Biafra may have to wait decades for another sympathetic UN leader. That's why I keep saying we need to start doing something now. Let us use this opportunity that we have a good man as UN, as the United Nations Secretary General. Now, history moves in windows. And when those windows close, they can stay shut for generations. The global momentum for indigenous rights, Scotland independence push, Burkina's 2019 referendum, South Sudan 2011 independence, all cases where referendums reshaped nations. The UN under Guterres has supported indigenous political autonomy movements when they meet conditions of peaceful advocacy and strong legal biases. Indigenous struggles in Latin America, Oceania, and Africa are gaining more media attention and political traction than ever before. If Biafrans want a UN-supervised referendum, the time is now. Antonio Guterres will not be in power forever. The winds are favorable today, but storms are coming. We can either sail now or stay anchored in oppression for another half century. The choice is ours now. Anyway, guys, that's all we have for today. Let me know your thoughts below. And also, if you know you're new to this channel, please don't forget to click the subscribe button, like, and turn on the notification button to get all the latest news in this channel. So, guys, thanks for watching, and see you guys again in my next video. And also, don't forget to please to type in the comment section free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because we use this platform to agitate for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So, guys, thanks for watching.